today. It's great to see so many great Albertans out here. My name is Anthony Mayfield. I'm the person who started Albertans Against Excessive Lockdown, and so I'll give you just a quick little blurb about that group. So I actually started that group a couple weeks ago, actually 13 days ago. It was Sunday, May 10th, and it was after I saw Cody Holler, where are you, Cody? Cody Holler. Let's get a hand for Cody. He doesn't like to take credit, but did everybody see the video? Who all saw the video of the arrest, right? Amen, brother. And so I saw that video posted in a private Facebook group, the Great Group and the Lockdown Alberta. So I highly recommend for people to check that group out online, over 7,000 people. I saw that video posted by a great patriot who was sitting there recording it, and I saw people saying, hey, I really want to share this video, but it's in a private group. How do I share it? And so I saw, okay, this video can go viral. And so I downloaded it using my software skills, because it's a private group, and then I re-uploaded it with this page that I created, Albertans Against Excessive Lockdown. So that video went viral. It's been seen over 250,000 times now on the internet, 250,000 views. So let's get a hand for that. Because that forced, within 24 hours of me posting that video, Premier Kenney came out on his Facebook with an official statement and basically threw the sheriffs under the bus and said, oh, we didn't order that, we didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. I'll touch on that a bit later in the speech, but that video started this whole thing, which is leading to what we see right now. And we have a lot of great organizers in Edmonton who are coming together. We're all getting under one banner, and we're all helping each other and promoting each other. So we're going to be here again next week at Saturday at 1 p.m. We're going to do a march again, and then we're going to do speeches again here at 2 p.m. And so just thank you, everybody, for coming. The itinerary for today is we're going to sing O Canada, we're going to do a prayer, and then we're going to have some speeches, and probably Marcy will do some music and stuff as well. And so I'll do a speech, Josh will do a speech, Cody's probably going to do a speech, and then, a few other people, if other people have things to say, I think we're going to try and make the mic public so people can come out here and get things off their chest. Trust me, I've been coming here almost every day and bullhorning the legislature. Has anybody seen any of those bullhorn videos? Yeah. Okay, right on. And trust me, it is cathartic. It feels so great to just get that off your chest, because we all have this knowledge, these talking points, the truth that we just wanted to shout for so long. So yeah, we're going to be here at 3 p.m. as well every single day. And if you want to come shout at the legislature or give a speech, I have seen so many smart Albertans. When I look at the comment section of Kenny's Facebook posts, I see so many smart Albertans. Albertans have not bought this BS. This is a hoax. It's totally transparent, and the myth has been dispelled at this point. So I know any of you could be up here giving the same speech I'm doing right now, because you all know the truth. You're all aware of the facts. And so when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking as Anthony Mayfield. I'm just saying the things that I know all you guys wish you could say as well, and feel free to say it. You guys have all the same power. We're all equal here trying to stop the same thing. So with that, let's do O Canada. We're going to do the normal version, not this crazy version. And then I'll lead us in a prayer, and then Joshua will start us with a speech. So we can just start here.
Turn it up a bit?
Yeah, we'll turn it up as well. O Canada, our home and native land, true patriots love, in all our sons command, with glowing hearts we see rise, the true north strong and free, from far and wide. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today doing anything we can to try and stop this insanity and stop this absurdity. We know that your children have been put on this earth to live with dignity and freedom. And the way that they've been treated with this, the amount of suffering that's been taking place under the auspices of this government policy has been horrendous. And we know there's a larger agenda at plan, and we know that you're so sick of it and seeing the way that people are being treated and forced to suffer. And so, God, we just come before you today to try and show you that we see through the lies, we see through this hoax, and we are doing everything we can within our power. And please continue to give us grace and power as we take these forces of evil head on with the courage that our ancestors had when they fought and died to give us these freedoms. And with that, I close this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Well, thanks, Marcy. Thank you all for being here today. As you all know, we are living in unprecedented times. Never before in history has the entire world been this terrorized. The people are so afraid of a bug that they don't see the real enemy careening right towards them. But you do. We do not fear this virus. We fear this government. Never before in our history has 3/4 of mankind been ordered to close their businesses, close their schools, close their churches, and ordered to separate from friends and family. This is tyranny. Tyranny on a scale that 6 months ago would have been unimaginable. This is tyranny that is crushing our spirits. This is tyranny that is causing people to turn to drugs and alcohol. This is tyranny that is leading to depression and suicide. This tyranny is bankrupting families, bankrupting individuals, and bankrupting businesses. This tyranny is forcing people to depend on government for their very survival. Throughout history, we have seen the consequences of dependency on government. Look at any communist state around the world and you will see the plan that this government has laid out before us. When people are dependent on government, they are sold into slavery. They want us to depend on them for everything. And with that, they have complete control. Control that extends right into our very own personal biology. They want you to wear masks in public when there is zero evidence. Who is right? When there is zero evidence that this will have any benefit. There are no suitable masks even available for our healthcare workers. Cloth masks are less than useless. It is blatantly obvious that for the average layperson, a mask may increase the spread simply due to the constant adjusting of an ill-fitting and ineffective mask. Yet Mr. Kenny and Dr. Hinshaw speak every day without a mask. Dr. Hinshaw states that not only is singing banned and dangerous, but so is laughter in public. She doubled down. Restrictions are supposed to be easing, but now laughter is banned as well? What is going on here? The numbers are way down. Not that these numbers even mean anything. We pretend to value science-based decisions, yet none of these restrictions on our lives, other than frequent hand washing and self-isolation of the sick, have any tangible or proven benefits. Across the whole of Alberta today, there are a total of 6 cases in our ICUs. Only 1 person is in the ICU in the Edmonton zone. Edmonton has only 58 active cases. Alberta has 865 active cases total. When this whole thing started, we were expecting exponential growth. I expected to see the cases doubling every day. That never happened. The only exponential growth I've seen has been in the Department of Government-Induced Tyranny. People are out now. We've been in phase 1 of reopening for 2 weeks and have seen no spike in cases. Clearly, this pandemic is over. I would argue it was over before it even started. The only science available on the subject of lockdown says that viruses spread more readily indoors. Yet playgrounds were off limits until yesterday. Fathers practicing soccer drills were ticketed even though everyone was following social distancing guidelines. Protesters were arrested and ticketed even though they were following social distancing guidelines. There is no justifiable reason for this government's actions, yet they refuse to ratchet down the fear tactics. We are told to assume everyone has the virus. You are told to stay 6 feet away from your family and neighbors. You are told to stay away from your places of worship. You are told that you are a danger to society. You could be the one that kills us all. There is no evidence to support these claims. There is no evidence that lockdown works at all. The U.S. states that did not enact stay-at-home orders are no worse off than those that did, and many of them are actually faring better. Sweden's death rate compares favorably with other nations that enacted strict lockdown orders. So why do they keep ratcheting up the fear? Everything about this pandemic has been bogus. Even the testing is bogus. I certainly do not believe everything that David Icke says, but when I heard him describe how the testing for this virus is faulty, I investigated further. It turns out he was right. I received a paper from a world-renowned local Edmonton clinical pathologist, Dr. Roger Hodkinson. In this paper, he outlines why the current testing is unreliable at best. On point-of-care testing, he states, this is a cheap, mass-producible test, somewhat like a pregnancy test in format, that is easily performed by non-technical staff and which enables rapid triage in locations such as airports and drive-through options for the general public. Except it is not available in the millions, and it is very inaccurate with many false positives and false negatives. On molecular diagnostic testing, the real-time PCR test, he states, this method is well known to have false negatives and also false positives, although not to the same degree as the point-of-care methods. That's the current state of COVID-19 testing. Relatively unavailable, inaccurate, and slow. And I would add, expensive. How much money has been wasted by the government during this exercise? The CERB alone will cost a minimum of $35 billion. The wage subsidy program is estimated at $73 billion. As of April 30th, the federal government has doled out $145 billion of your hard-earned money. They expect us to pay for this incompetence. What will this do to our already sky-high tax rates? Before this event, the interest paid on the federal debt was already larger than the income taxes collected. Before this event, even our interest charges are financed by new debt. The Bible states that the borrower is servant to the lender. The government has sent you and your children and your children's children into slavery. We will never pay this off. It will be a stone tied around our necks forever. You thought medical care was bad before this epidemic? Wait and see how bad it is about to get. You thought schools were underfunded before this pandemic? Just wait to see how that comes out. Who would even send their children to schools with the insane restrictions they are crafting? Children will have no recess, no play, no gym class. Who's seen the pictures of those squares drawn on the ground in France for the children to sit by themselves outside?
Child abuse! The teachers need there.
If laughing and singing is dangerous, there will be no band classes either. Schools are about to become penitentiaries, prisons for our children. I will not accept this. I will not tolerate this. I will speak up on these issues until I am dead.
Amen.
And so, Jason Kenney, the government of Alberta, and the government of Canada, I say, in the words of Greta Thunberg, how dare you bankrupt us? How dare you lie to us? How dare you rob our children of their childhood? How dare you? How dare you destroy our economy? How dare you destroy our businesses? How dare you crush our spirit? How dare you sow fear and division among the people? How dare you frighten us into servitude? How dare you sell us into slavery? How dare you suspend our charter of rights and freedoms? How dare you suspend my liberty? We will not accept this. We will not comply. We will not be fooled again. We will not trust you again. Are you willing to accept this new normal?
Hell
No! Hell no!
Are you willing to trade safety for liberty?
no!
Are you willing to sell your children into perpetual slavery?
No!
Are you willing to accept the loss of our religious freedoms?
No!
Are you willing to accept the banning of singing and laughter?
No!
Are you buying into the fear?
No!
Are you buying into social distancing?
No!
Did you vote for this?
No!
Are you willing to accept this communist takeover?
No!
Are you willing to submit to this government?
No!
I refuse to accept this new normal. I refuse to accept our political leaders. Any politician that suspends our charter of rights and freedoms is nothing but a tyrant. I did not vote for tyranny. I did not vote for slavery. I demand my rights back, and I demand them back now. As I said before, I am not done with you, Jason Kenney. Your gaslighting about only 15% of businesses being closed is a flat-out lie.
Right on.
All businesses have been severely affected, and all individuals have been severely affected. So cut the lies, and let's get back to the old normal. We are coming for you, Jason Kenney.
Lockdown! End the 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 lockdown!
I just want to let Dr. Hinshaw know that I still reject her adopting of me as her son. She's not my mother. She's not. She can't tell me to go outside. She can't tell me when I can go outside and when I can't. She's not my mom. She's not your mom either, I don't think. Not long ago, I think a few days ago or maybe a week ago, Jason Kenney said that he does not intend to use the law to force us to be vaccinated. Who believes him? I don't. Do you believe him?
No!
So far, Jason Kenney's track record has been abysmal.
He tells us what we want to hear.
He doesn't tell me what I want to hear. Until about 2 days ago, I'll be very short, but until about 2 days ago, none of this lockdown really affected me in a personal way. I mean, besides the massive depression that we're about to hit because of these policies, it really didn't mean anything to me personally. I just knew it was wrong. Then 2 days ago, my granddad had a stroke, and he's okay, so don't worry. But we hope he's okay. But 2 days ago, he had a stroke. He was taken to the hospital, and yesterday he was allowed to have one visitor at a time. My granddad was in fear. He was very worried. He was in a lot of pain, and he didn't have any family members around him besides his wife, and then his son, and then his other son, but only one at a time. Guess how many people are allowed to visit him today? 0! 0! Not his son, not his wife, no one! This is outrageous. They're afraid of the flu.
Shame.
I, for one, do not tolerate this. Do you tolerate it?
Hell no! Say it again!
I'm old enough to remember when there were chickenpox parties, measles parties. When did we become afraid of the flu? It's outrageous. I think it shows that we don't believe in God anymore, but I think we believe in God here, and I think that there is a consciousness change. I think that more and more people, we can see how many more people there are here today than there were on Saturday, the last Saturday, and the Saturday before. We have immune systems, God damn it. I'm here because I represent a lot of people who are not allowed to visit their ailing relatives, people who are in the hospital, who are suffering and who need a family member by their side holding their hand. Somehow, Dr. Hinshaw was able to go through med school and somehow believe that mental health and physical health are separate. Who here believes that bullcrap? I don't.
She's mental, that's why.
She is mental. I would question her mental health. Both Jason Kenney and Dr. Hinshaw and all of these quacks need to go to the penitentiary and have their brains examined after this. I will not tolerate this anymore, and I hope you don't. The numbers were bogus. End the lockdown now! The numbers were bogus! End the lockdown now! The numbers were bogus! End the lockdown now! The numbers were bogus! End the lockdown now!
Hey, let's get a round of applause for those two speeches. Those were fantastic, guys. I thank you so much for those speeches and raising your voice. You guys are great leaders, and I'm very proud to be able to work with you guys. You guys are fantastic. So, I have some remarks today. Usually I freestyle a lot of these, but I do have some points that I do want to hit today. Talking about what Connor said with his grandfather there, and I'm so sad to hear that, my friend. And there's actually a woman who is in our Facebook group, and she had been trying for 3 months unsuccessfully to visit her sister who was in the hospital. The only way they were allowed to communicate was through FaceTime. And this woman was chatting with me and chatting with all the group members and telling us this story, and it was just so gut-wrenching to hear. I hear so many stories being the head of this page of people and the suffering that they have to go through. But this is actually a miracle. This is great news. She felt so much support from the people in our Facebook group that she called the hospital and she told them, "This is wrong. I demand to see my sister." And Rochelle supported her, and she stood strong, and she had the right, and she went and visited her sister after 3 months. And that's what it takes. It takes people standing up and having a backbone and saying this is wrong. The whole thing, the way this started was 2 weeks ago. I almost didn't come because I'm working on alternative YouTube and it was going so great. And then I said, you know what, this is just so wrong. I feel it's satanic. I have to show God that I'm at least showing up to say that this is wrong. So and then I was driving down here a couple Saturdays ago and I was thinking in my head about how BS everything is. And then I just got angry, and then on the way here, I was like, you know what, I'm so glad I'm coming because I am just so pissed about this. And then when we got here, I was live streaming for End the Lockdown Alberta. I pull it up, I walk up, it's starting at 2 p.m. No sooner than we get here at 2 p.m., the sheriffs roll up and say, there's more than 15 people, we're gonna start giving you tickets, get the hell out of here. Yeah, if you can believe that. He pulled out his phone, he said, this is in violation of the Public Health Act, we're going to start giving you tickets, there's more than 15 people. And so people said, well, what if we split into smaller groups of 15? And then, so we were just kind of bantering with them and showing how ridiculous this entire thing was. And they said, we're giving you 5 minutes, get out of here, when we come back, we're going to start giving you tickets. And so we all started getting pretty nervous. I mean, the economy was still fully closed at that time. We're saying, God, are we going to stand here? Are we going to leave? I don't want a ticket. Do you want a ticket? And you know what? We stood strong and we communicated, and I yelled to the sheriffs on my live stream. I said, if you bully us like you bullied that woman in Lethbridge who was wearing that stormtrooper outfit and got tackled to the ground, if you guys saw that, I said, hey, that got around the world, and if you bully us, we will get it around the world again. Don't even try it. And we stood strong, and Connor and Josh and myself, we all stood, and everybody else who was here, we all stood strong, and they came back a handful of minutes later and they said, you know what, as long as you guys social distance, it's fine. And we said, hey guys, thanks, appreciate it, right on, see ya. So that's how this entire thing started. It started with having a backbone. It started with saying, you know what, I refuse to be bullied. Because I am so sick of tyrants and bullies waddling around claiming that they're God, saying we have the right to lock you in your house, we have all the answers, even though our models have been wrong, etc., etc. Who gave them the right to be our dictator and force us to stay in our home and keep us away from our friends and family and not even allow us to put food on the table for our families? Who gave them that right?
Satan!
And speaking of earning the right, who saw this article that came out yesterday by this journalist, David Staples, and the title was Albertans have earned the right to have their economy open. Did anybody see that article come out?
That was awful.
I don't know what passes for journalism that day, because I checked out that article, and believe me, I know Kenny's talking points, the 15%, the light touch, all the bullshit he says. I looked at that article, it was a press release. That's not journalism, David Staples. Are you working on Kenny's staff? That's not journalism, that was a press release. But the thing that I found amazing was they say, Albertans have earned the right. They're patting us on our head. Good job, you did everything we told you. Now we're going to give you some of our rights back. You were such good boys. Here's some of your rights back. We've earned the right to not have a boot on our throat? Excuse me?
You got it, brother.
You know who gave me a right to live with freedom and dignity? God. God gave me that right, and no tyrant and no bully will ever take that from me. Do you hear me? And so, speaking of earning rights, we've apparently earned a bit of our freedom back, but I have something for Premier Kenny. I think he's earned the right to be charged with criminal negligence. Have you guys heard of this? I was sitting around thinking about this travesty, as I'm often doing, and the words came across my mind. Criminal negligence. So I looked it up in the criminal code. It's very interesting. I'm going to read it out for you guys. So this is straight out of the Criminal Code of Canada. It says, duty of persons undertaking acts dangerous to life. Everyone who undertakes to administer surgical or medical treatment to another person or to do any other lawful act that may endanger the life of another person is, except in cases of necessity, under a legal duty to have and to use reasonable knowledge, skill, and care in doing so. Very interesting. Does that sound like what our government has done? Have they used reasonable knowledge, skill, and care when we handed over our lives to them? With this medical treatment they're giving us? So it's very interesting. Let's see. Everyone is criminally negligent who is A, in doing anything, or B, in omitting to do anything that it is his duty to do, shows wanton or reckless disregard for the lives or safety of other persons. That's very interesting. So you're criminally negligent if you do something or fail to do something that shows reckless disregard for the lives or safety of other persons. Does that not describe to a T what has been done? And I'm going to get to this a little bit later. Definition of duty. For the purposes of this section, duty means a duty imposed by law. So this is interesting. Every person who by criminal negligence causes death to another person is guilty of an indictable offense and liable, A, where a firearm is used in the commission of the offense, to imprisonment for life and to a minimum punishment of imprisonment for a term of 4 years, and B, in any other case, to imprisonment for life. So, based upon that, I have to say, Premier Kenny, I know you have this agenda where you want to have us do these mandatory vaccines, we're going to be tracked here and there, you probably want to force us to wear masks everywhere. Well, I just have to say one thing. You had better pull your plan off properly, because if you fail, this whole thing is unraveling before us, and if you fail and an investigation is done and you are found to be criminally negligent in causing deathly harm, you are facing life imprisonment. So be very careful. You're treading in dangerous waters right now. And based upon that, I went through some of my old screenshots from I don't know. Have you guys known about this for a long time? I figured out this was a bunch of BS on March 26th. I basically locked myself in my room. I was on the internet researching. March 26th was the day I reached out to my friends and I said, I've concluded that this thing is an entire fraud. And luckily, I went on record pretty early with it on my personal Facebook account. So I want to read to you guys the statement that I made on April 8th. Mind you, this is over a month and a half ago. This was only a couple weeks into the lockdown. And I was responding to a story that says, probable COVID-19 scenario in Alberta could see up to 3,100 deaths. Kenny says restrictions will likely remain through May. And so this is Anthony Mayfield on my personal Facebook going on the record on April 8th, a month and a half ago. Kenny wants to keep us under house arrest until at least June 1st. 100% chance that will cause a depression that will be so severe Alberta may never recover. The models have overestimated cases, hospitalizations, and deaths by sometimes up to 20x, and they have to keep revising their numbers downwards day after day. It's pathetic. Unless our public health officials actually look at the data and stop with this hysteria, we will face a continued destruction of our civil liberties and economy that will leave a permanent scar on our society and may cripple a generation. Did I not have it right on April 8th?
Yes, you did.
And so if I, as a layperson, I'm not a professional doctor, I'm not in the public health, I'm not a public official, I'm a layperson researching online. If I could figure that out and know what was going to happen if we went down this policy, why were the people who are in charge of our lives, who do this as a living day in and day out, how did they get it so wrong? Because it's a month and a half later and Kenny still has not figured it out. You're killing people. So that's why I say I think this is criminal negligence causing deathly harm. I want an investigation. Did they do a cost-benefit analysis? They must have known suicides, deaths of despair, etc. would spike under this policy. Did they calculate how many deaths would be caused due to this policy and say, you know what, the end justifies the means. There's going to be fewer deaths in the nursing homes, etc., etc. So all the people who hang themselves and kill themselves with drug overdoses, we think that's acceptable and that's on us. Because if the government wants to throw these numbers in our face and say, we save so many lives with this policy, if they want to do that, they have to, it's a mandatory that they accept responsibility for the deaths that they have caused. Accept responsibility for those deaths. I want the suicide and the deaths of despair, the drug overdose numbers, I want those every day beside the COVID numbers. Tell us how many people have died because of your policy and accept responsibility. Look Albertans in the face and say it was the right thing to do and we stand beside it. Will you do that? I do not think you do. I do not think you will, because I don't think you have the courage to take the responsibility for the deaths that are on your hands. Prove me wrong. Look Albertans in the face and say, we accept the suicide deaths. It was the right thing to do. Because I'll tell you one thing, this hoax is over. It's done, you guys. Like, can we get a hand? The hoax is over. We did it. All of you and me and everybody else working our asses off, pumping the information out, even with the World Health Organization deleting our videos and Mark Zuckerberg working with Bill Gates to shut us all down. It didn't work. We got the information out. This hoax has been dispelled. It's a myth. It's over. It's done. Nobody buys it anymore. Why are you still forcing this upon us? It's making me sick. I still cannot go to church. And they said we have to leave the liquor stores open because if people can't get their liquor, they're gonna suffer. Well, you know what? I have been suffering because I can't go to church. and share in reverence for my Creator. My church is my family, okay? Some people, luckily I have a great family, but some people, the church is the only family they get, and you've ripped that away from people. What kind of tyrant doesn't let people worship their God? That's disgusting! And just the lack of leadership this entire time has been so amazing. Who saw this ticket of this man playing soccer with his child? Who saw this? $1,200 ticket. You know what that is when you can't play soccer with your child? That's textbook tyranny. You look up tyranny in the dictionary and you see a picture of a father trying to spend time with his child getting ticketed at a time of economic devastation. You know what leadership is? Premier Kenny, leadership is using your megaphone and your Facebook and stopping with all these bullshit little cutesy Facebook videos. Leadership is coming out and saying, you guys, I saw that arrest. That's totally wrong. I'm going to talk with that officer. I apologize that this has happened. This is not right. This is not what Alberta should look like. That's leadership. Where is the apology? Where is the apology for Cody Holler's arrest? They dragged Cody Holler off like this is some kind of Gestapo East, like Stasi East Germany or China. You know, Kenny talks about all this bluster about China. Oh, we're going to hold China responsible. We're going to hold China responsible. Well, it's amazing because you're implementing the World Health Organization's policy, who is run by China, and then the policies that you use to quote-unquote stop this virus came straight out of China. This has never been done before in history. You've never had a pandemic where the solution to it was to lock everyone in their house, destroy their civil liberties, shut down the economy. That's never been done before in history. Again, criminal negligence. Why did they go full in with a policy that's never been done before in history, completely unproven? In fact, we have the data now to show that it's a total fraud. They went all in on this thing and they didn't even do a single cost-benefit analysis. It makes me sick when I realize that we don't have a single leader in Canada because every single premier just went full in lockstep with this thing, didn't answer the question, didn't do anything. We have a completely captured government. It doesn't work for us. You know what's sad? Myself and Joshua and all of you, we're the representatives of Alberta. Alberta doesn't have leadership. We are the people who are out fighting and representing Alberta at this point. And you know what? We also don't have a judicial branch or a legislative branch. The judiciary is shut down until June 1st, and the legislative branch was erased with Bill 10. And did you guys see this live stream with Premier Kenny? It's funny, they said, I had some tough questions, and a social media guy said, well, hey, we're going to do a live stream at 7. Why don't you ask your questions then? Well, we're going to be answering tough questions. And so I'm there at the live stream, and we keep, right at the beginning, I'm being very polite, no caps locks, you know, hey, I'm wondering about this, wondering about that. Well, they took bullshit screened question after bullshit screened question, and I started typing in the chat. I said, hey, Paul, what the hell, man? You said you would answer some tough questions. These are softballs. We want answers. And then they asked 3 hard questions in a row, and then mine was about Bill 10. How the hell did you use this pretense of a public health crisis to make yourself a dictator? And he laughed it off and said, haha, well, actually, I shouldn't laugh. You know, a lot of people are concerned. And look at his body language. He's doing all the signs of someone who's very guilty. He looked like a kid who got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, because he knows what he did was a travesty. He knows that he tried to give himself total power, and he was busted. And we got only a couple real questions through, and they started to fall apart. They started rambling, doing all these long-winded explanations that made no sense. They couldn't take like 2 or 3 tough questions. That's how much of a hoax this thing is. It falls apart under like 10 seconds of cross-examination, and yet they're continuing to enforce this fully and just shove it down our throat. I mean, what the hell is wrong with these people? I mean, you know what? I wasn't even into politics or activism and stuff until you tried to kill me and my fellow Albertans, and now I'm pissed and I'm on your ass, Kenny, and that's why you're backpedaling and doing damage control, and so many Albertans continue to rake you over the coals in every social media post you do because we're on your ass. This is such bullshit, and I apologize. Last week I did a better job of not cussing, but I am just so pissed off, you guys. I am furious at what's happened to our province and our nation and our people. That's why I called this the Stop the Fear protest. A government should not be promoting fear. What kind of government goes around trying to scare the shit out of its own citizens and then use that fear to take away their rights? What kind of horrific, satanic, God-forsaken person would do such a thing? That's horrific! The absurdity, the level of absurdity that they're forcing us to try and accept. I will not accept it. I have not fallen for this hoax. I knew it was a scam. Not from the beginning. The beginning, I fell for it. But shortly thereafter, I found out it was a scam. And you know what? Like I said in one of my bullhorns, this is my home, okay? When I was a child, I played in these fountains. I came here with my parents. I ate ice cream and stuff. I grew up here. I refuse to let it be turned into some technocratic control grid where no one has rights anymore. This is my home, and I'm a man, and I'll stand up and fight to protect my home. Again, Cody Holler was dragged off. And how the hell does Premier Kenny have any credibility at this point? The models were completely wrong. They passed Bill 10, destroyed our rights, and Kenny can't even get basic facts right. On the live stream, he said one person was arrested, and that was the only arrest that had taken place at the legislature. That's patently false. Get basic facts right, especially if you want to declare yourself God and stick your boot on my throat. At least have the decency to get your facts right, Premier Kenny, because actually there were 3 arrests that day. Pat, right there. Is Pat Tipper here today?
That was the week before.
Exactly. So there were 3 arrests on May 10th. The week prior, there was an arrest. He can't even get basic facts right, yet he thinks he has the credibility to be our God and say, don't go on the playgrounds, don't do this, don't do that, you don't have a right to earn a living. Holy shit. Get your basic facts right. How can we trust that you can implement sophisticated policy when lives are in danger? You, after weeks and weeks, can't get a basic fact right. Who the hell do you think you are? So that's what this all comes down to. The government has zero credibility. Dr. Dina Hinshaw, I watched one of her press conferences. I forced myself to watch it. Every single thing was patently false or a logical fallacy. And like, I'm gonna go back and do a video and pause it, and I'm gonna do commentary over the video. Everything she said was a blatant lie or a logical fallacy. She basically said, oh, there's 4 people who died. 1 was 70 and over, 2 were 80 and over, 1 was 90 and over, and no Albertan life is expendable and blah, blah, blah. That's what we've been saying from the beginning. This is a disease that kills old people with pre-existing conditions. Why is the economy shut down? Dina Hinshaw? What is the law of medicine? The Hippocratic Oath. Do no harm. How the hell have you decided that all these suicides and all these deaths of despair, in what world, Dr. Dina Hinshaw, is that doing no harm? You're killing people. And so I'm going to produce that video, and I'm going to go over that press conference, because everything is a lie, everything is a hoax, everything is a logical fallacy. I still have people coming up to me and saying, if it saves 1 life, it's worth it to shut down the economy and kill our civil liberties. Well, God damn it, if it's worth to save 1 life, we destroy the economy? Well, how about we reopen the economy if it saves 1 life from suicide? What about that? That's a good idea. That's the same logic. And you know what? That's what it comes down to. People with no access to information and no critical thinking skills, the people that the government and the media loves because they do anything they're told without questioning, those are the only people who still believe this hoax. This has gotten into WMDs in Iraq territory. That's how much of a joke this has become. That's how much of a hoax that has been exposed at this point. Nobody's falling for it anymore. So I'm telling Premier Kenney right now, look, your hoax, you know, you want to do all this stuff, mandatory vaccinations. I'm sure you guys had a litany of agendas that you wanted to get pushed. It's over, okay? It's done. Stop the fraud. And if you reopen the economy, end Bill 10, restore our civil liberties right now, I will stop calling for you to be prosecuted under criminal negligence causing deathly harm, which again is life imprisonment. If you stop right now, you can get out from under this. Maybe. That's how nice of a guy I am. I say, if you stop this right now, maybe we will let you get away with this without life imprisonment, okay? But if you keep marching down this path, God damn it, you will deserve life imprisonment for what you've done to this province, presiding over the largest economic destruction and destruction of our civil liberties in Albertan history. You will be a traitor and a tyrant, and everything that happens to you on this mortal plane and everything that happens to you when you leave this mortal plane, you will deserve it 1,000,000 times over. And that's why I'll end my speech there. Stop the fear. Stop the fear-mongering. Stop telling people to be afraid of each other. We know you're doing it as a pretext to take away our civil liberties. It's over. Stop it now. Stop the fear. Thank you.
Our rights are not up for grabs. There is no debate. Our rights are not up for grabs. There is no debate. Our rights are not up for grabs. There is no debate. Our rights are not up for grabs. There is no debate. Our rights are not up for grabs. There is no debate. So proud of you, Edmonton. You have no idea how proud I am of all of you. And take a look around. It's only getting bigger and bigger. God bless you. We're taking back this country. It's ours, not the traitors.
Hello. First off, I'd like to thank each and every one of you. Okay, just one sec. I am reading off cards. I'm not as good as Anthony and Joshua that can just spew this out. I had to write it down. So I'd like to thank every one of you for coming here today to stand up for your rights and your freedoms, to stop the fear. We need to stand together and put our differences aside as we come together to fight something far bigger than just a virus. To everyone who has stood up to the deception, whether it was keeping your business open, tearing down the caution tape at your local playgrounds, participating or organizing in local rallies, informing friends, family, and communities, phoning or emailing your MLAs and MPs. For those of you calling out Trudeau, Kenney, Hinshaw, everyone on social media, thank you. I would especially like to thank those who took one for the team. Patrick, Pat, Corey, and Cody.
Right on, guys.
And yourself.
I never got arrested.
Every day.
As well as anyone else who has been arrested or fined under unnecessary laws. Thank you to each and every patriot who refused to adhere to the social norms and chose to use their voices.
Woo.
A big thanks to any lawyers who have stepped forward to fight for our rights and offer free legal services to those who have been wrongfully charged. Thank you to the very few media outlets that have chosen to report the facts rather than fear. Thank you to the law officers that have chosen to listen to their hearts over their orders.
There should be more. A lot more.
Amen.
It's all good, Michelle.
Sorry, I'm not a big speaker.
It's all good, Michelle.
So, in the beginning, the majority of us were scared. I know I was. I was okay with flattening the curve for 2 weeks to prevent the millions of deaths predicted. In fact, I gave my parents trouble and asked them to stay home because I thought they were at risk. I did my jail time, self-isolation. 3 out of 6 of my household members had symptoms of COVID-19. Each of them were tested, each of them came back negative. Once I began to do my own research, follow the stats, and look past the fear-mongering brought on by our media, I began to realize that the numbers were highly exaggerated and began to speak out on social media, attend the rallies. The first advertised rally I attended had 4 people. That didn't stop us. We kept coming. After that, the numbers grew. Some not so great. This is a great show up, so thank you to everybody that came today. So, with every Facebook post, I had more and more hate from family members, friends, acquaintances, and even strangers, calling me selfish. I don't hate them for that. The government and the media instilled a sense of fear so great it was able to break up friends and families. It created a division so wide that we were blind as to whom to be mad at. They want us to hate each other. To that, I say let's show them how much love we have for each other. They wanted to create division. To that, I say let's show them how we can stand united. I was told over and over how selfish I was being because of my actions. How is standing up for this without a voice? How is that being selfish? It's not. We're standing up for those without a voice. We're standing up for those, for the whole world.
Suffering with cognitive dissonance.
Right? We're standing up for the 130 million predicted famine deaths that this economic downfall will cause. The final death toll is destined to be far higher than just those who die of COVID-19. Only 134 deaths out of almost 5 million people in Alberta, when they predicted 2,500 deaths. How does that necessitate a total economic shutdown of our province? Thank you. It doesn't. Experts warn that the deaths from secondary impacts such as suicide, hunger, disease, and violence, exacerbated by the pandemic, may surpass the numbers of those who die from the novel coronavirus itself. There have been several whistleblowers globally who admit that the tests are being manipulated and that the treatments by ventilators are actually killing those with the virus. It's murder. According to antigen tests, C19 has already made its way around the world. I know many who thought they could caught it sometime between September to December, when most flus go around. It's interesting that since C19 came into play, that hospital beds are now more available. No one seems to be dying of cancer, heart disease, car accidents, etc. Is it possible that this virus is the cure to all other ailments? I highly doubt it. Is it possible that we are being lied to? Yes.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
That can't be. No.
Why is it that we can pack into grocery stores, but we can't play at the park?
That's right.
Sweden has similar numbers to their neighbors. Japan has only 800 deaths in a country with 130 million people, and neither were locked down. We need to look at who is giving us this false information. The WHO is largely funded by Bill Gates, who prides himself as a global philanthropist who will save the world. Yet he wants to vaccinate everyone after admitting the world needs to depopulate, in his own words.
Lock him up!
Where's the computer he saved?
Just look into his family background, and you'll see years of eugenicists.
Yep. Facts.
Still going. We are standing up for those who feel the need to end their lives. We are standing up for those who are dying or will die due to famine, addictions, violence, or lack of medical care. We are standing up for those who want to pray in their place of worship. We are standing up for the children who will no longer be attending school, rather, a place that is similar to a jail. We are standing up for those suffering in pain and dying alone. We are standing up for those who don't get to bury their loved ones. Or celebrate a beautiful wedding and graduation. We are standing up for small business owners. We're standing up for those with non-essential jobs. All jobs are essential. All lives are essential. Even Fauci admits that staying closed for too long could cause irreparable damage. He changes his mind a lot. To Trudeau, Kenney, and Hinshaw, there's a whole lot more, but we'll go with those. I ask of you to admit that you were wrong. It's okay to take responsibility. It's okay to admit that you were wrong. If you can't be responsible leaders and admit your faults, which have ruined our economy, racked up billions of dollars of debt that our children's children will pay for, then you need to stand down. On April 2nd, Jason Kenney enacted Bill 10, which allows him or any further government official to evoke any law that he sees fit without proper legislation. No government should ever have that power. This is not democracy. It's time to get our lives back. If you think that because some restrictions have been lifted, that the fight is over, you're highly mistaken. The fight has just begun. It's time to stand up for our rights and our freedoms. It's time to stand together. We will not comply to the new normal. We will not stay silent. So, thanks for coming out today. I just want to shout out a couple of groups here. Albertans Against Excessive Lockdown, Unify the People.ca, Unify the West.ca, the Canadian Revolution, End Bill 10. There's a whole bunch on Facebook. Check them out. Get involved. Join us Wednesdays at 2 p.m. 100th and 170th.
170th Street.
Yeah. 100th Ave and 170th Street, Stony Plain Road.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah!
That's right. Thank you.
Great job.
Give her show.
Does anyone want to come up and say a few words? Please do.
Edmonton, how are we doing? Edmonton, how are we doing? All right, I'm going to say, Edmonton, how we doing? And I want you guys and gals to say, unreal. Edmonton, how we doing? Unreal. Edmonton, how we doing? Unreal. Amen, brothers and sisters. Today marks a day to be alive, a great day to be alive. So a lot of people over here have been talking about the problems. We all know the problems, right? God bless them. You guys, your speeches, you gals, your speeches are amazing. It's a wonderful time to be alive. My name's Paul. I want to let you guys know that I've noticed about 15 years ago that there was a cycle that humanity goes through. And it just didn't seem right to me. I myself am an entrepreneur, a businessman who wanted to be successful, have the dream that they claim is out there. You stroll through on Instagram, you scroll through on Facebook, everybody's living a great life. But when you go over to their house, they're unfortunately sad and not feeling so great. It's a lie, of course, we've all known about that. So what happened? I started to grow a business before the collapse happened, the last collapse. We're talking the financial collapse happened. I grew a business only for it to be taken away. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna learn from my mistakes like I'm taught. How do I learn from my mistakes? Okay, well, what happened? Okay, well, you should have diversified yourself. You should have done X, Y, Z so that it doesn't happen. Well, guess what? About 8 years ago, I rebuilt a business. There's a moral to this story. It's not about the business. I'll tell you that much. I rebuilt the business thinking that the game was fair play, meaning what works for them also works for me. So I rebuilt a business only to find out that they can take away a brand new business that's diversified with the stroke of a pen because of a hoax, what they call a virus, and shut down the complete economy. Not real, not gonna happen under my watch. I started to question everything. I said, wait, what's going on? This doesn't seem right. Something is not right. How come it comes in cycles? You get started, you grow a business, you become successful, it's stripped away from you. You grow, it's stripped away from you. But the exact same massive corporations seem to always be in business and have the upper hand on us. Look, there's lots of problems. We can keep labeling them 5G, forced vaccines, XYZ, God knows what they come up with next. It's gonna keep on coming. I love the fact that we want to end the lockdown and I'm all for it. But guess what? Now we're going from darkness to light. What does that mean? We're going to start presenting solutions. How do we present solutions? And Cody's going to be talking more about these solutions. God willing, these solutions are here. It's landed, and it's great to know the problems, but better yet, going back to even the old normal where we are still getting our butts taken advantage of is not the solution, I promise you that. Because even if they open things up and we go back and taxes go up and all of a sudden you walk into your superstore, your Costco's, where you're forced to wear a mask, you're forced to talk like this to your brothers and sisters, guess what? They're gonna come at you in another way. The next time it's gonna be different. If you think you understand their agenda and you know what they're doing, brothers and sisters, you have no idea what they're going to be doing next. And I promise you, these people behind closed doors, that's exactly what they do. They study how do we enslave them without them even knowing. But guess what? The masses are waking up. If you want to learn how you can actually come up with a solution, it's standing united by what Cody's about to talk about. So without further ado, if you don't know Cody, Cody's a freedom fighter like every one of you. If I ask Cody that, if I tell Cody, thank you so much for all you did, he says the exact same thing. I did it because I do it for everyone. Everybody, please give a warm welcome for the man, no more himself, Cody.
Thanks, Paul. One of my favorite speakers here. Love to follow this guy up. I want to give a shout out to Josh Switzer, Anthony Mayfield, absolutely everybody who has spoken here today, Rochelle. I want to give a shout out to all of you people that are standing here today. It's awesome to see the numbers growing week by week, and I think it shows that we are in a very auspicious time. The topics that have been discussed here today show that people are awakening, that they're beginning to question the mainstream narratives, not only about COVID, but about several other things. And, this is the awakening. This is people deciding to challenge things, to get out and do their own research. Like Anthony said, he's just a layman, but it took him no time at all to go out and do some research and find, that what we're being spoon-fed is an absolute lie. This is a myth, and this myth of this pandemic is being perpetrated upon us by our government institutions, by the mainstream media, not just our government institutions, but global institutions as well. Now, as we're all beginning to see the facade fall and understanding that these things are myths, you have to understand that the same people that are perpetrating this myth to us are the same people that are perpetrating the myths of overpopulation. Okay, the same people that are perpetrating the myths of scarcity. These are the same people that are perpetrating solutions. It's the Hegelian dialect in full swing, which is problem, action, solution. Now, what they're offering us as a solution is actually what they want us, is the bait that they have put out for us to bite. Now, since everybody is becoming more aware that what we've been spoon-fed is a lie, I think it's a really good opportunity to shed light on some of the other myths that have been perpetrated perpetrated upon us. I understand the patriotism and all of us loving Canada. Okay, we grew up here. We were raised upon the ideals that, you know, this country was founded upon the supremacy of God and the rule of law. And I don't want to take anything away from that. Okay, when I think of Canada, I don't look to these buildings. I don't look to our government institutions, but I look at the people. All of you people that are standing here today, and even the ones that aren't. Okay, that's what Canada is to me. Canada is what we're known for, us being, having integrity, being polite, challenging adversity, you know, with our backs strong and our heads held high. And there's another myth that has been perpetrated upon us, and that is the myth that is the country of Canada. I think it's very important for everybody here to understand that what we've been told about the history of our nation is in fact a lie. People are, you know, what happened to me here the other day is a good example of the erosion of our rights and freedoms. And I've been an advocate of that long before any of this pandemic or any of these things that are taking place. I've spent a great deal of time researching several different things to try to understand the slavery systems that are threatening the global populations. And to look at Canada itself, in 1982, Pierre Elliott Trudeau convinced the Canadian people that he was taking steps to ensure that we were a free and sovereign nation, that we had our own constitution, and that we were actually our own sovereign nation at that time. But what in fact occurred was Pierre Elliott Trudeau went to the British Parliament and asked them to take the British North American Act and to create a constitution for us. What they actually did was create a charter, what we know today as the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. In reality, this charter is nothing more than the chartering of a corporation that does not benefit the people on this land, that doesn't benefit any one of us. The charter itself is still technically in limbo, and this can be evidenced. I challenge you all to look. Go look at the charter itself and look at section 59, because it says that this charter will not come into force of effect. It will not become active until section 23 of the same charter is satisfied. Now, people might ask, what is section 23? Section 23 refers to the language issue. And that issue is that English and French was supposed to be offered for every province for educational purposes in this country, across the land. Now, that was never agreed upon by the province of Quebec. 2 times throughout history, this constitutional issue has been attempted to be remedied. Once at the Meech Lake Accord and once at the Charlottetown Accord, and both of them failed. Now, section 59 says that when that section 23 is satisfied, that there has to be another proclamation, and section 59 to not only be appealed, but be completely removed. And the fact that section 59 is still standing in that charter today, and section 23, is evidence that that has never happened. It goes much deeper than that, more than I have the time to explain today. I encourage everybody to do your own research and to look out. Please don't take what I'm saying as fact. Go and look up these facts for yourself so you know and you understand them for yourselves. It goes much deeper that we have actually been commoditized. Every single one of you, all of our children and our grandchildren have been commoditized and propped up as collateral for the nation's debt. And this has been orchestrated through the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Bank for International Settlements, and the Vatican itself. They're the Triple Crown corporations, and I suggest you all research them and try to understand what has been perpetrated upon us all. There are many groups today that are working to remedy these issues. In 1931, the power was vested into the provinces of Canada, and there are groups that are working tirelessly in order to create a constitution, or several constitutions, you know, and they're leaving this up to the people. They're trying to get everybody engaged, to get involved, to become a part of the solution. You know, this is about building community. It's about building our understanding of the reality of the situation that we're living in. And that's it. I want to encourage you all to research these things, because they're very fundamental to understand if we are to move forward, to have a government that is accountable to the people, a government that is transparent, a constitution that actually represents the people, and a government that is for us all, that is answerable to us, you know? I believe that is the solution. Interestingly enough, this is what I was discussing when I was arrested on May 10th. This is the exact topic I was discussing when I was arrested. Other people have mentioned that truth is being silenced through social media networks and media platforms around the world. Strangely enough, after I got arrested, several of the videos were taken down. Certain versions of the videos people have been banned for sharing. Furthermore, Facebook itself has been banning me, locking me in Facebook jail for videos that I did over a year ago pertaining to this exact information that I'm speaking about right now here today. And the same information that I was speaking when I was arrested here on May 10th.
Not today.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't see any police here today. Not that I have any issue with them. Hey, we need them too. We need every single person to understand what has happened. I mean, people say we can't just focus on the problems, but I know it's absolutely necessary for us to understand the problems so we can understand the need for the solutions.
They were chosen by the people. They need to uphold that integrity.
Yeah, that's that's pretty much all I have to say. Like I said, we can sit here and we can run circles around the problems all day long, but it's time for us to start focusing on the solutions. To become united, to become unified together, and to stand together. To say enough is enough, and to forge a new road forward into the future that can benefit us all. One that will benefit not only us, but our children and our grandchildren, and also honor the sacrifices of generations past.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
And hey, everybody, if you didn't quite understand what he's talking about, first of all, that's normal because it's probably introduced to you for the first time. Me, just like literally 2 weeks ago, I've learned about this, and I started going down that rabbit hole, and I promise you, it's real. So if anybody has any questions for him, please, this man knows what he's talking about. If you guys and gals learn what he knows, game over for them. Amen.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for coming. I just wanted to let you know, I've met quite a few of you already, that we have a petition going to repeal Bill 10. We will be submitting it to the Legislative Assembly after Wednesday, our due date. So if you want to find me, I'll be over there with my kids and you can come sign it. I'm also taking Facebook names because I'm really interested in growing the community. We need to work together, you guys. Amen. So please approach me. I'll be right over there. Thank you.
I'm really happy with the turnout today. You don't know me. My name is Jay Jones. I'm just a nobody. I'm just a person who's fighting for change, and I'm happy. I'm happy to see all these people who come out here rather than hide behind a keyboard. You know, when this pandemic started, at first, you know, I was scared. I was like, Jesus. I was like, China closed down entire cities. You know, San Francisco got locked down. I was like, this must be serious. So I kind of panicked for a moment. I bought water. I stockpiled food. You know, I bought a hunting bow because they won't give me a gun. But all of a sudden I realized, it's like, geez, it's like there's nobody dying. You know, I have 4,000 friends on my Facebook. Not a single one of them had COVID. You know, somebody said a lot of people believe they had COVID back in January and earlier on. And I'll tell you, I pride myself on having a super strong immune system. I never get sick myself. You know, I've had girlfriends, they've had the flu, they got children, like, oh, stay away from me. I was like, nah, just give me a kiss. I was like, don't worry about it, I won't get sick. And I never do. But in January, let's just say I was down and out for 4 days with all the symptoms of COVID. And it went through my workplace, and then it was over. So, you know, I never get the flu. I can say that. But this year, it happened. And like I said, thank you to everybody coming out, to Joshua and Anthony, and to Cody Holler, and Paul, and we the people. I'm with Unify the West, and our goal is to unify these groups. 2 months ago, I had reached out to many of the big, large Facebook groups who call themselves Patriots, and I said, hey, is it time to stand up and protest this? Well, you know what? These group leaders, I saw them read my messages on Messenger. It shows you they've read them. They didn't bother to respond. And the ones who did, they said, no, it's COVID, we can't. And I was just so disappointed. I couldn't believe it. These groups with 7,000 members, these leaders weren't even willing to put the word out, but like, hey, we got to fight tyranny. And you know who you are, because you know who I am, and I've reached out to you. And now these are the new up-and-coming groups who have the people who are out here fighting. So thank you, everybody. Let's keep up the fight. Let's keep bringing our friends and family in. Let's bring in people from other provinces. We got groups around the world. You know, we got Aussies, we got people from New Zealand who are watching Canada. I talk with them on a daily basis. I got friends in Texas who are watching what's going on here. And they're like, Jesus Christ, boys, like, what are you doing? Why is nobody out here fighting for your rights? You know, they watch the government take away 1,500 different guns, some airsofts, they banned some Facebook groups that sounded like a gun name. Like, they don't even know it's in the damn bill. And they're like, what are you doing over there, Canada? We thought you were better than that. We used to be the land of the free. I used to be proud to be Canadian. You know, I used to think this was one of the greatest countries in the world. But my faith has been shaken. And, you know, I don't have a family. I don't have children. I don't have a wife. I'm just a single man. And I am fighting just in case the day comes I do have children and grandchildren. I won't be ashamed to look them in the eye and say I didn't do anything to better their country. I will not be that man. I will fight for your children and your children. I will fight for your religious freedoms. If you want to praise Allah or praise God or your different Hindu gods, I will fight for your right. I will fight for your right for you to say whatever you want. You can hate me. You can speak out against me. That is your right. You know, there's, you know what? There's these anti-hate groups. You all know who they are, who are all against anti-hate. I don't see them out here today. I don't see them fighting against government tyranny. I see them on my Facebook wall calling me a Nazi and a racist and saying I won't do anything. Well, if you guys saw, I had posted an official challenge for a charity event. I challenged one of their members who thought he was amazing to a charity MMA match. I said, we'll have permits, we'll have insurance, we'll have medicals. And you know what? He blocked me. He didn't accept the challenge. The challenge still stands. If any of these Antifa or anti-hate members want to do something for charity, I will have a charity MMA match. And I will represent the mustard seed of Edmonton. And I'll tell you, I've gotten old and I've gotten fat and I've gotten slow and my body hurts. You know, I'm a construction worker and I've taken injuries and I'm willing to stand up and make some money for these less fortunate. So I want to thank everybody. If anybody wants to take over, we got, I don't know your name, Marcy. She's got a guitar. I want to see what she does. So thank you, everybody.
Marcy! 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 Marcy!
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so yeah, if you wanna, you just push the button. It
Push
should
the
be.
button? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's on video? There we go.
It should be.
It is now.
Oh, wow, I am so proud to be here with all of you guys right now. This is so awesome. Thank you for all the speakers and
for every single one of you, and for talking about, joining the groups, and we're all in this big journey together. There was one group I saw recently. It was something about freedom, a celebration of freedom, and it was about, about opening Canada again. And I just wanted to start off with something about unity and bringing people together. I might need to check myself here a bit. Okay, so I read this wonderful woman's poem, and this was at the bottom, Revolution. I thought that was pretty awesome, so I'm just going to read her poem now. And I just also like to start off with the Treaty 6 land acknowledgement. So I'd like to acknowledge that we're located on Treaty 6 territory, respecting the history, language, culture of the First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Nations people of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our vibrant community. So this is from Mia Bailey. I'm trying to unbraid the thick white tangle of telemedia wires wrapped around the wrists of language. I'm trying to reach through the murky membrane of the matrix to find all the symbols taken hostage and used against us. What are these words, these wards of containment? Phrases used as spells designed to mislead us, repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated until danger means safety and hero means compliant, and language is used as a weapon used to handcuff the defiant. Use your pen like a sword to break the chains of deception, to scratch at the wallpaper of this worded perception, pierce the veil again and again until it splinters, disassemble the phrases used to silence the dissenters, cut through the matrix of fear and confusion, slash at the slogans, weaving webs of illusion, unspell the sentences used to keep us dreaming, restore revolution to its original meaning. So, thank you to Mia Bailey. So, I just wanted to say, she was talking about how, we're all a part of each other, and, whatever part we play, to play it well. And I was thinking today, how do you bridge the gap of understanding? Because like some of you were saying, at first I was terrified. I only knew what my media and what my government was telling me. And so, just trying to be aware, how do we slowly start to bring awareness to people, but to respect that some people are still so afraid, and they feel like if we don't do these things, wear masks, then, we're not being safe. But I'd just like to question a few things, and things that are making me not too happy, like with Bill 10 and all their power. How could the government sit there and say they're going to give us a fine from between $1,000 to $500,000? So they can take your house, if you have a house, and it's very arbitrary. So say, for example, why can people go and sit beside each other in a restaurant, but they're going to have to be 6 feet away from each other if they're walking on the sidewalk? That makes no sense. It's very arbitrary, and it's ridiculous. So I just like to keep piercing holes and things. From what I read, countries with lockdown and no lockdown have very little difference. I've heard 60% of new COVID cases are where people are locked in their homes, so it's actually more unhealthy. I've heard the average age of COVID in Alberta is 82. Well, this was initially trying to protect the elderly. Well, what about protecting the children? What about protecting the children who are supposed to be our future? these social distancing measures are creating child trauma. It's creating trauma for all of us. So, you know, the government, I feel, should be held responsible for traumatizing us. And with these stupid bills that, oh, it's like, oh yeah, you're okay to sit beside somebody in the restaurant, but we're going to be able to fine you $500,000 if you're not 6 feet apart. That's not okay. And I don't know if this is true or not. I'd like to learn more. I wonder if you do. Please let me know. But I've heard a lot of people talking about the New World Government and the United Nations Agenda 21 trying to take all the land. Well, from what I've heard, Trudeau and countries around the world borrowing trillions of dollars to put into this COVID that we can never take back. I've heard that they're going to borrow all that money and then they can legally take Canada and take our land through the United Nations. I don't know if that's true, but it's time for us all to stand up, find out what's going on. I'm putting this out there. If you have any comments for me on this or anything else, please reach out. So these songs of freedom, I'm so happy to play for you guys. This one that I'd like to do first, it's about all the people that are getting, you know, that are most affected with the secondary effects. I've heard that suicides outnumber COVID deaths in many places like California. And this is a song about just telling people to keep going and coming together. It's called In the Light of Day. Exit night. Oh, sorry. I don't have my book open, so I have to remember what capo. Exit night, and today it's time for better way. I close my eyes, I feel my heart. Where do I start? I'll do my part. In the light of day, I find my way. I fall down, but I get back up. Shake myself off, start again. And you get to, you can make it through. You matter, you do. And I love you. And I love you. What do you hear without your fear? Release your fears. We are a one. The earth, our mother. We are all brothers. Help one another. You help yourself. In the light of day, I find my way. Fall down, but I get back up. Pick myself up and start again. And you can too. You can make it through. You matter, you do. And I love you. And I love you. Time to create humankind's fate. Evil abates when we stand as one. Let me hear your voice. You have a choice to stand up or to take this land down. In the light of day, I find my way. I fall down, but I get back up. Shake myself off, start again. And you get to, you can make it through. You matter, you do. And I love you. And I love you. And I love you. Thank you.
I think it's good.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, you guys. Let's see what to play next. I'm just going to get my book here. Oh, I think you guys will like this one. This one's a really good one about everything getting taken down off of Facebook and stuff. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, thank you. everybody, can you hear that sound? Everybody, look what's going. You know what? Sorry, I gotta restart that.
You got this.
I think I do. It's new. Sounds good. Thank you.
That sounds good.
Oh, maybe the book's handy.
Oh, thank you. Sure, let's see. Where will it go? Okay, thank you. Perfect. All right, here we go.
Marcy, can I hop in for a second?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Because, yeah, do you want to do like a lot of music or like play for a while? Or, like, yeah, no, I say like, because I think people will just stay here and chat with each other, especially if there's like music stuff. So let's play the music.
It's an illegal block party.
Test, test, test. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. That basically concludes the Albertans Against Excessive Lockdown, the kind of thing that I had planned today. So we're going to be here again next Saturday from 1 to 3.
How dare you stop her?
Oh, no. Marcy is going to be playing more music. Marcy will play more music directly after this. But we're going to be here next Saturday again from 1 to 3 p.m. We're going to be doing a march at 1 o'clock, and then we'll do speeches again and stuff. And Marcy will play more great music, etc. And we also have a group of cadre of hardcore people who are basically here every single day at 3 p.m. bullhorning and live streaming. So if only Saturday is not enough for you and you guys want to join us and rant at the legislature, I highly recommend that. It's very cathartic. So that is at 3 p.m. here at the legislature. And just thank you guys, everybody, for coming out so much. I highly appreciate it. Thank you. Do you want to announce that real quick? And there's also a group that is protesting on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. So that's Shannon right there. And if you want to do that, link up with Shannon. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, Anthony. Yes, everybody trying to show up. That would be awesome. All right, here we go. Hey everybody, can you hear my song? Listen quick before it's gone. Down from the web, hidden from the world. The truth is bigger and it unfurls. They're going down. They're going down in the dressing gowns. Hey everybody, can you hear the word? Who are the masters that you serve? Truth is here, you gotta wake up. Gotta do more than fill our cups. We're going down all around this town. We're going down all around this town. Hey everybody, can you hear the sound? Everybody look what's going down. Hey everybody, sing with me. This ain't the way that it should be. We're going down all around this town. We're going down all around this town. Well, you can't say this, you can't say that. Follow the money to show you where it's at. Show up your lies where the sun don't shine. Cause you got your truth and I got mine. Yes, I got mine. Yes, I got mine. And you are lying. Hey everybody, can you hear my song? Listen quick before it's gone. Down from the web, hidden from the world. But the truth is bigger and it unfurls. They're going down. They're going down in the dressing gowns. Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh, this one I can play next. You guys will like this one.
Rock, Marcy!
Thank you.
Yes, you do. Thank you.
All right. Well, as many of you already are perfectly aware, there's so much to learn, and we can go deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. Well, this one's called rabbit hole. Deeper down the rabbit hole, how low can it go? Deeper down the rabbit hole, lower than we know. Threads are winding, lines are blinding, and deeper down the rabbit hole we go. Deeper down the rabbit hole we go. Well, deeper down the rabbit hole, things you thought were true. Deeper down the rabbit hole, things you thought you knew. Well, good night for Gabby and Hill, the former well bank, and now there's something new, yeah. Deeper down the rabbit hole, how low can it go? Deeper down the rabbit hole, lower than we know. There's our white bank, lines out of blinding, and deeper down the rabbit hole we go. Deeper down the rabbit hole we go. What deeper down the rabbit hole, how low can it go? Deeper down the rabbit hole, lower than we know. Threads are winding, lies are blinding, and deeper down the rabbit hole we go. Deeper down the rabbit hole we go. Deeper down the rabbit hole, things you thought were true. Deeper down the rabbit hole, things you thought you knew. Looking out for Gabby and Hill, for well bank, and now it's something new, yeah. Deeper down the rabbit hole we go. Deeper down the rabbit hole we go. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones coming up. I think you guys will like this one. It's called The Golden Age.
Here for the truth.
This is a song I feel like it's just all about you guys and all of us and everything everybody's doing, everything they've taken away from us, that it's time for us to get back. It's called The Golden Age. Across the land, people seeing through, wondering just what to do, and the echo, it rippled across the land. Well, know your worth, bestowed it, but take back what's rightly yours. Truthless it's veil, and night with prevail, their castles come crumbling down. Let food be our medicines, poisons banned, golden age rushing in. We are all one, and now it's begun. It's time for a better way. Well, take my hands and catch me to the band. Sing with me until we are free. Till children are fed, sleep in the beds. Come join me dancing with the band. Take my hands and catch me to the band. Sing with me Okay, so this song is an interesting song. Let's see, I lost my faith quite a long time ago, but with all the evil going on in the world, I started to believe more in the good, and I just put my energy out there, you know, kind of sang a prayer, I guess, if you will, and this is the song that came from it. It's called Seek and Ye Shall Find. All I am, I owe it to you, and all my life you helped me through. All their lies becoming so clear, and all their lies we felt so dear. I didn't know that you carried me when I was down. You followed my footsteps without a sound. We'll rise up as one and wave on the shore. Your will be done and we'll be your hands. And all I am, I owe it to you. And all our lives, what we go through. And all these lies that we've been fed. And all these lies they put in our head. A medical fiction, do the test lie. Can you catch a virus? Who benefits and why? Controls the are marching, money through hands. Weaponized towers with millimeter bands. And all I am, I owe it to you. And all our lives, what we've been through. All these lies are coming so clear. And all these lives, they are so dear. So let's take back our power, let's take back our health, let's take back our lives and let's take back our wealth. Kennedy Jr. is leading the charge. Take out those monsters and lock them behind bars. And all I am, I owe it to you. And all our lives, what we've been through. And all these lies were taught to be true. All these lies help us see through. Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone want to come play a song?
Okay. Or come and say something, feel free. I'm just gonna keep going. Ooh, I love this one. I
don't think any of my songs would be appropriate.
I love this song. This is my song called Wonderland, and just about seeing through what the media is propagandizing to us here, and the whole pandemic. We got to take back our language. It's not a pandemic; it's a plandemic.
That is so true.
Media clowns, they are juggling. We're following their balls while wars are raging inside our walls. Search for the truth and you shall find. Alice and us were left far behind. Follow the rabbit into Wonderland. Follow the rabbit and try to understand. It's more than a theory, an architected lie. And they got the blindfold right over our eyes. Behind closed doors, they are sealing up our fate. Behind closed doors, we're told to sit and wait. Conspiracy theory or deep state fact. The CIA tells us it ain't that. Follow the rabbit into the rabbit hole. Follow the rabbit to see what's control. Well, Alice woke up and she's hot on the trail. Conspiracy on a global scale. Collapse the economy, rely on the state. Puppet master warlords determine our fate. The poison needle and the fun's just begun. The poison needle and the damage to be red pill and the millimeter band. Well, the tower's choppers where we stand. Follow the rabbit into Wonderland. Follow the rabbit and try to understand. It's more than a theory, an architected lie. They got the blindfold right over our eyes. Follow the rabbit into the rabbit hole. Follow the rabbit to see what's control. Well, Alice woke up and she's hot on the trail. Conspiracy on a global scale. Follow the rabbit into Wonderland. Follow the rabbit and try to understand. It's more than a theory, an architected lie. They got the blindfold right over our eyes. It's more than a theory, an architected lie. And they got the blindfold right over our eyes. Thank you. Thanks so much, you guys. See you next week. Sure. Well, I have a couple of the things on lawful rebellion, but apparently it's not coming up on YouTube. So you could friend me, Marcy Kleparchuk, on Facebook, but it's supposed to be lawful rebellion. Oh, it apparently comes up. It just pops up. Marcy K. Put Marcy K in, you'll find me. Thanks so much, you guys. Thank you. If anyone wants to come up, please feel free.